Have you ever felt like you know your English is good, your grammar's on point, your vocabulary is solid, but when you speak, especially in a high-pressure situation like an exam, something just feels off? Well, you're definitely not alone. And the reason why is probably not what you think.
So, what's going on? Why does your English sometimes sound off to examiners, even when you know for a fact your grammar's perfect? That's the big question we're going to tackle today.
Welcome to The Explainer by IELTS Guide Phil on YouTube.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the Filipino accent trap. And right away, I want to be super clear. This is not about getting rid of your accent. Your accent is part of who you are, right? The real goal here is to pinpoint just a few tiny habits that can sometimes get in the way of being crystal clear. And that brings us to the most important word for today, intelligibility. That's the whole game. It's not about sounding American, it's not about sounding British. It's simply about how clear and easy you are to understand. That's what examiners are actually listening for.
You know, IELTS Guide Phil says it best. The focus is always on clear communication. So let's just take a deep breath, forget all that pressure to have some kind of perfect accent, and instead, let's get practical and look at the specific things that will make a real difference.
So, what are these things? Well, after analyzing tons of tests, IELTS Guide Phil has identified what he calls the Big Seven, the 7 most common pronunciation errors that examiners almost always notice. Ready to break them down? Let's do it. All right, number 1, the F/P mix-up. This is a classic, right? The F sound isn't really a thing in most Filipino languages, so it's super common to swap it for a P. So friend becomes pre-end or for becomes poor. And look, it might seem small, but for a listener, it's like a tiny little speed bump that makes their brain have to work just a little bit harder to keep up.
But here's the good news. The fix is totally physical. It's just a little muscle memory. Okay, try this with me right now. Gently bite down on your lower lip with your upper teeth and just blow air through that gap. Feel that? That's the sound. Now let's put it to work. 4 fine friends found 50 fish.
Okay, moving on to number 2, which is a close cousin, the V/B swap. Very important becomes very important. Now this one can be a little more serious because it can literally change the meaning of a word. A van is not a band, right? Big difference.
And the fix is almost identical to the F sound, but with one little secret ingredient. You turn on your voice box. So same position, upper teeth on your lower lip, but this time you hum, make a sound. Put your hand on your throat. You should feel a little buzz, a vibration. V. That's it. That's the V sound.
All right, number 3. This one is a biggie. The short I versus the long E. Just look at that example on the screen. Saying I will live here versus I will leave here, that's the complete opposite meaning. This is the kind of thing an examiner's ear is trained to catch instantly.
So how do we fix it? It's all in the shape of your mouth. For that short sound, like in live or ship, your mouth is pretty relaxed. It's quick. But for the long E sound, in leave or sheep, you need to stretch your lips out a bit, kind of like you're smiling. E. See the difference? Practice those pairs. Ship, sheep, fill, feel. It really helps.
Oh boy, number 4, the TH sound. We all know this one, right? It's the sound that just doesn't exist in Tagalog or other Filipino languages. So what do? We swap it. Think becomes tink, this becomes dis, and 3 becomes tree, which, is a totally different thing.
This is another one that's purely physical. The secret is tongue placement. You actually have to stick the tip of your tongue out a little bit, right between your teeth. I know, it feels weird at first, but try it. For a word like think, you just blow air. Think. No voice. But for a word like this, you turn your voice on again. This. Feel that vibration? That's the whole trick.
Okay, number 5 is what I like to call a silent killer for your score. It's dropping the final consonant. So last week turns into last we, or friend request becomes friend requests. And this is a double whammy, because it not only makes you harder to understand, it can actually make your grammar sound incorrect. You lose your plurals, you lose your past tense. It's a big deal.
The fix here is really just about awareness. You have to consciously decide to pronounce that final sound, maybe even exaggerate it a little bit when you're practicing. Hold it just a fraction of a second longer. A great way to train this is to practice those really tricky word endings like asks, texts, or months. If you can say those, you can say anything.
All right, number 6 is less about a single sound and more about the music of the language, the rhythm. In Filipino, we tend to give every syllable equal weight, right? Like choco, la, de. But English doesn't work that way. It's more like a dance. Some syllables get the spotlight and others are just quick little steps in between. That weak little sound is called a schwa, and it's everywhere. So it's not chocolate, it's more like chocolate. Getting this right is a huge step towards sounding more natural.
And last but not least, number 7, the R sound. The Filipino R is often that quick tapped sound, or even a roll. The standard English R is totally different. It's way smoother. Think of your tongue curling back in your mouth, but, and this is key, it doesn't actually touch anything at the top. It just glides. Rrr. See? No tap.
Whew, okay. I know that was a lot to take in, the big 7. But please don't feel overwhelmed, because knowing the problem is only half the battle. IELTS Guide Phil has put together a really simple, really practical plan to help you actually work on this stuff, step by step.
Here's how it works. It's a 30-day plan. In week 1, it's all about awareness. Just record yourself talking and listen back. Seriously, pick 2 or 3 of these issues that are your biggest priorities. Then, in week 2, you zero in on those sounds. Practice them by themselves. Week 3, you start building them into full sentences. And finally, week 4 is application. You take it out into the real world, in conversations and mock tests. See, it's a clear path forward.
So let's bring it all together. Remember what we said at the beginning? The goal is not perfection. It's not about erasing your identity. It's simply about clarity. It's about making sure that your amazing ideas, your great answers, can be understood perfectly by anyone who's listening.
And that brings me to my final question for you. Think about those big 7 we just went through. Which one, or maybe 2, really jumped out at you? Which one made you think, yep, that's me? Deciding which one you're going to tackle first is the most powerful step you can take today.
Now, if you want to go even deeper on this, IELTS Guide Phil has laid all of this out in a full blog post over at IELTSGuidePhil.com. And of course, for more explainers just like this one, make sure you explore the YouTube channel. Plus, there's an awesome Facebook community for more support. We put all the links for you right down in the description.
And hey, one last thing. If you're really serious about getting your best possible score, IELTS Guide Phil also offers an online masterclass that goes into way more detail. If you're interested in signing up, just drop a comment below and we'll get you the info. Thanks so much for watching.